Hey everyone, and welcome to Big Red Homestead. Today we are talking about the news of the century for Nebraska football with the potential of Dylan Raiola, the number one quarterback in the class this year, and the potential of Kyle McCord, yes or no, and the news breaking there. We have a ton to talk about today. Caleb, how you doing?
Man, I feel like it's deja vu having the Dylan Raiola talk again. The hype is back, real.
Insane.
We said, there'd possibly be an opportunity for him to come back to Nebraska after he chose Georgia. Didn't expect it to be this fast before he'd ever step foot on any campus, though. And that makes you really excited as a Husker fan. Obviously, the implications would be monumental for the Nebraska program to have a five-star QB like Dylan Raiola back on campus. It would be unreal.
I mean, this all started when there was a report that came out that Kyle McCord might be coming to Nebraska, and there was a crystal ball that kind of predicted that. And then a crystal ball, immediately after that, predicted Dylan Raiola to flip from Georgia to Nebraska. And then things started rolling a little bit with rumors coming out about Dylan and money at Georgia and things like that, with potentially also Georgia's quarterback coming back and there being a quarterback battle at Georgia. There was a bunch of different things going on there that potentially have now caused Raiola to possibly switch back to Nebraska. Also, Donovan Raiola, Nebraska's offensive line coach, of course, related to Dylan Raiola, got an extension from Nebraska as well. So that kind of locked in his future, 53% raise. And so we have to talk about the potential of what's actually going to happen here and the impact that it might have on Nebraska. The biggest piece of news that we just got before recording here was about Kyle McCord from On3. It said that Kyle McCord, after his visit on Monday, maybe moving on from Nebraska. They said they have multiple sources that told them that Kyle McCord is probably moving on from Nebraska. So the question would be why would he move on? And that is where Dylan Raiola comes into the picture. So what are your thoughts here on the entire situation? What are you at?
It's exciting, and I think it means good things for Dylan Raiola. The coaching staff has been talking, including on the Pat McAfee show, that 90% of what they want to do is build for the future and just have a little bit for the portal guys, 10%. Obviously, they want to get the guys, but most of it building guys. So it makes sense that if Dylan Raiola came back on the market, all of the eggs going into one basket for Dylan Raiola, quite frankly, makes the most sense. And also, Kayleen earlier this week, too, amidst all this news, has kind of left and started looking other ways as well. So that would also
he's a three-star quarterback from Bellevue West, if you're not familiar.
Yeah, so that would make you think that, he knows these rumors, and there's got to be a lot of smoke then if he's looking at other schools after all of this.
MSU.
Yeah, so that would make you think, well, Nebraska, this is looking good for Dylan Raiola or McCord, but probably both at this point. So for a short world, we were going to get blessed with two five-star quarterbacks at once, and it still could happen. He said moved on, but I'm not sure if it's over yet. He's just testing the waters some more. Again, in the world of NIL, and Matt Rhule saying $1.52 million, and some players getting $6 million. And then there's the Marvin Harrison Jr. People are trying to compile money at Ohio State to pay him some outrageous amount to come back. In this crazy world that is college football and the scene that it is, anything could happen. And it's still on the air, but things are looking really good for Dylan Raiola, which would be the biggest recruit in Nebraska football history.
Right. I mean, that's what we have to focus on here is that at this point, with this many crystal balls pointing towards that have now predicted Dylan Raiola to come to Nebraska, the odds are heavily in our favor to land Dylan, which would mean that Nebraska's landing one of the top 2 or 3 recruits in the country, the number one quarterback on most people's rankings, number 2 on a few, and a 5-star 98 overall composite score. So or 99.65 composite score on 24/7. He's currently the 2nd overall recruit on 24/7, just behind Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver that's going to Ohio State, wide receiver U. And so landing a guy like this, not only would, of course, Dylan himself be potentially program changing for Nebraska, but the hype and the interest that bringing in Dylan would have on Nebraska's future would be monumental. I mean, this could be this genuinely could be a LeBron James situation for Akron. Or the Cavaliers. It's basically like when you have a guy that has this much gravitational pull and who could be that good. I mean, you watch his huddle film, which, by the way, we just put up a reaction of Dylan Raiola's highlights on Patreon. So go check that out, by the way. But when you watch that film, you gotta be impressed. I mean, his arm talent's there, his pocket presence. his overall ability is insanely impressive. And what did you like the most about Raiola's film, and what could he bring to the table?
I think it's the creativity that he has when he plays, though. He can throw the balls in so many ways. His feet set, not set.
His release angles.
The creativity. Yeah. I mean, he can throw a Russell Wilson moon ball, or, he can throw a bullet, a Josh Allen bullet. The trajectories can change, and he has so much touch. That's what's so impressive is for as much power as he has for throwing 50-yard balls, on 1 feet or no feet, then to be able to just have this great touch.
Like the Matt Stafford end zone fades. Yeah. Like they're just super clean.
And he's such a pass first QB, which is fun, but he's also the pocket presence is the second thing. He has such a sixth sense in the pocket of being able to move it if he needs to. And the communication that he has with the wide receivers, again, scramble drills, him extending plays also means making plays, because we've had QBs that could extend plays, but it doesn't translate to anything besides a ball thrown out of bounds. Not Dylan. He's finding guys, communicating, moving them. Again, he's just really a general, and he just looks so poised in the pocket. A lot of things that, man, Nebraska, every team in the whole country.
Well, right, and like in the Big Ten, when most D lines in the Big Ten aren't that explosive, that athletic, in comparison to maybe the SEC or the Big 12. Having a quarterback who's mobile and can get out and make plays, but also still throw it downfield and be dangerous is so valuable. I mean, we saw what JJ McCarthy did this year. I mean, and he's not like unbelievably mobile, but he's extremely athletic. And you obviously have seen it with Talia as well. Like they can extend the play and they just find guys downfield and make plays for their team. And I think Dylan has the potential to be exactly that too in college football. So the upside is there for sure. And again, like from the bigger picture side, it's like when you bring in a guy like that, guys are going to follow him to Nebraska. It's going to have an effect in this transfer portal, this upcoming season. And then of course in the recruiting classes in the future as well, with the momentum that is heading, that Matt Rhule is kind of dragging in here for Nebraska. So, I mean, what is it going to say towards the coaching staffs, towards Matt Rhule, and what impact this could have on Nebraska's future?
And just the ability to pull a 5-star recruit in general, something that we haven't done since the Callahan era. This is a giant feat and crown, a jewel in the crown for Matt Rhule and the rest of the staff and Satterfield and everyone else. If you can get the top quarterback in the class, I mean, doesn't get any better. There is not a more valuable recruit in my mind, as good as the wide receiver for Ohio State is probably going to be. Dylan Raiola will have a much more massive impact, most likely, than any other player in the recruiting class. Just because the quarterback is the toughest position in football, it's the most difficult to recruit, and it's been Nebraska's woe for the last 15 years, 15 years plus, 15, 20 years. So, I mean, we've had some solid ones in there, but man, I mean, this would be just another level that you just couldn't believe again to have. I mean, even the fails at these guys,
Well, that's what I was going to say. When you go back and look at the top quarterback recruits of the last, let's say 5-6 years, if you're a top 2-3 quarterback, especially if you're in the top 10 or so overall recruits, you have a insane hit rate. I mean, if you go back to look at like 2020, that was Bryce Young and DJ Ugalale. The 4 5-stars in the 2021 class were Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams, Sam Heward was kind of a bust, and Drake May. I mean, that's a 75% chance at like NFL first rounder, top 10 pick type of talent. So, I mean, that's what you're kind of looking at here.
The Trevor Lawrence 2 a year.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, DJ Ugalale. Like there's some insane talent there inside the top 10.
NFL, not just good in college, but these guys are going to make so much money in the league, and these are future Super Bowl champion looking players.
Yeah, obviously you hope it's 2018 and you hope it's Trevor Lawrence and you hope it's Justin Fields. Like that's what you're looking for, I mean, in 2019 it was like Spencer Rattler was number 1, and then Jaden Daniels, terrible, was number 3.
Oh man.
Number 3 was Bo Nix, number 4 was Sam Howell, number 5 was Max Duggan. Oh no. Terrible.
Shoot.
So landing these elite quarterbacks, the odds of hitting are really good since 2018. So that's why you have to get just unbelievably excited about the potential and the upside that Dylan Raiola could bring.
Do you think that we scared McCord off because we are getting Dylan? Do you think that's the case?
Narrative, right? I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think anyone knows the answer, but
somebody knows. Dylan knows the answer.
Dylan knows the answer. I mean, at this point, With this many crystal balls, with Kyle McCord leaving, and like with Daniel Kalen looking around the country as well to change his commitment, I mean, right? They have to know something. And there was rumors coming out that Kalen's family had mentioned that they had heard that Raiola was considering coming to Nebraska, and that's when the whole conversation started around Kalen leaving. So it's looking extremely likely. And there's rumors that he's going to be on campus this upcoming weekend. So if that's the case, that's where we could end up getting a commitment. I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good. And if that's the case, I mean, Nebraska football, the hype train will begin. And one thing that we know is that, I mean, this defense is going to be legit next year. I mean, I think we're still in the running for Princely, Umanmielen as well, and a few other guys in the transfer portal. This would only increase the odds of bringing in guys like that into the portal. I mean, Princely, I mean, my word. I mean, I would be so hyped if we got Princely, adding him to this defensive line. So there's a lot to get excited about.
And Carlos Davis brother situation.
Oh, my goodness.
Both NFL talent.
But even better, I think, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, Princely is like legitimately a first-round NFL draft pick. So the hype could be real there if you end up pulling a guy like that.
Yeah, and then I think Prince Will is going to be fantastic as we keep going too, because he was so good as a freshman. Oh my!
Right?
Yeah, to have those two on the line, that would be so fun. Come on, reunite the family. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. What is more fun?
I know,
than winning a national championship with your brother. Nothing. And Dylan Raiola. I think that this train's kind of started, the snowball started rolling down the hill because Matt Rhule in the press conference said guys are getting paid $1.52 million, just so we're clear. Some guys getting paid 6-7. I think this was maybe the smartest press conference move that we've seen from a coach maybe ever in this situation. Him saying what we're willing to pay to go get a quarterback, setting a new market price, as he said. Nobody was talking prices. Everything was under the table. Everything was secret and held from us. And then he's just honest and open about it. And now everybody knows. Now the 1890 collective probably already knew, but now fans can know. It's like, hey, we can raise that money. What's that? If
right.
if 10,000 people
on Pat McAfee too, which is also a good thing for your brand.
Yes, we want all the publicity. He has done a good job at the press conference, and that's why he's been. At
least, I mean, hey, we missed a bowl, but at least we're winning the offseason right now. There is a worst case scenario here, right? I don't want to be that guy to throw some water on the flames, but there is a worst case scenario here.
Yeah, if Dylan doesn't show up, we miss out on McCord because of the Dylan thing. And Fleming, and then Daniel leaves as well.
Oh yeah,
and then Jeff Sims
takes his name out of the portal, and we're back, baby.
And then here we are with the exact same team as last year.
Could you imagine?
That would be the worst case scenario. There is a world, and I guess as a Nebraska fan, we just prepare for the worst at this point because
we're used to it. How many field goals?
Fourth quarter leads have we blown? How many times as a field goal at the last second? Well, as a walk-off, as we just watch the other fan base cheer and they run around and tackle and pile on the kicker while we cry. It's not happening at all.
So if it can
It's
happen
never
during
happened
the season, it can happen after the season.
So that's a cautionary tale.
Oh goodness. I think as a Nebraska fan, I think it's healthy to have a little bit of a dose of pessimism, considering the history of things that have happened in Nebraska the last 5 years. I don't know.
But if we get Dylan, those 1-score losses gone, national championship here in the playoff next year, probably going to win it all with the great defense we have. And I mean, we just probably win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I remember
Trevor Lawrence did it.
Trevor Lawrence did it. Tua did it. Or I guess Tua did it the first year he started.
Yeah, it's simple.
And guess what? We could even dream about that because we're getting a top quarterback in the whole country.
If it happens, we are going to lose our minds, and the hype will be real.
As you should.
So drop your comments down below. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you think we're getting Dylan Raiola? Are we going to pull anybody else from the portal? Let us know. And we'll be ready to react. Check out the Patreon. Obviously, like we said, we have the Dylan Raiola film reaction there. And we're going to be doing more on Patreon throughout the whole entire offseason. So definitely check it out. Check out the HOMESTEAD Store as well. Fire clothing.
Sir.
Who doesn't want that? So we appreciate you guys for watching. But as always, I'm Josh. That's Caleb. This has been Big Red Homestead. And guys, we'll see you next time.
Go Big Red,
baby.